Okay, so in my last video I talked about rebuilding 1206 Farmall for Farming Simulator 19. So this video, I just kind of want to point out a few reasons why I think that might be a cool thing to do. I'd rushed the release of the 1206 back in 2013. It wasn't exactly the way I planned it to happen. But let's start by going to the workshop, and here we are in Blender with what I think is my last updated version of the 1206. I actually updated it for I was working on it for 15. So it's essentially kind of the same, I guess, but I think there's a bit of work around the hood there, and most of the work's here in the front. The front axle's done properly. It was a big triangle in 13. Remember, when you're sort of modding, it's balanced between detail and polygons. And of course, I built this for FS of 2011, and our polygon limit was a lot less than it is now. Computers weren't quite as strong, so this would have been a model that would have pushed the polygons for a mod then. But it could do with a makeover now, and that will give some more detail. See, like, that's kind of nice in there. But a few other things. I'm not happy with the engine. The rails need to be redone. There's a few things. I'm just going to go over the top of. I'm not going to do it now, but this is what my plan is to go through every aspect and just decide which bits I'm going to keep and which bits I'm going to give more detail to, just to make it a little bit more special, I guess. Probably the main thing is the engine. Now you can sort of see it really was a low poly engine. It's just this big cube with some stuff stuck on the side, and I think probably the main thing is I'm going to probably rebuild the DT361 engine, so it kind of sits in there a little bit more realistically, a bit more space, fix up the fuel tank and stuff needs to be fixed up, kind of thing. Okay, but that's not the only thing. Like I said, I rushed the release of this back in the day, and there were, I guess, reasons for that. But the unfortunate thing about it was, just get rid of that. I'm not sure what that's doing in there. I have no idea. Probably something to do with scale or something like that. Okay, what's the big? Check this out. I don't know if anybody remembers this. Where's the texture one? Give it a sec. It's going to think about it. I'm not sure it's going to work, actually. I was just looking at this big ad. Does anybody remember that? The old FSUK ruler that came out, that there was a big push that everything should be properly scaled, because, I mean, back in 2011, I think all the giant stuff was 10% overscale, I think. Has a tendency to make your tractors look really, really cool and strong, but, you know, someone pointed out it's not particularly realistic. So let's just get rid of that. So let's okay, so there it is, kind of thing. It's probably people recognize it in the shed. Let's okay, so you can see from here what I was planning to do. I'm going to go back to non-textures just because I had options to do. And obviously down here you can see the ice cream box cab. That would have been a nice little extra to have. Just plonk it in place. There you go, see? So I didn't release a version like that. It would have been nice to. You would have had to get rid of the guards to make it realistic. There you have another version. Of course, your jewels and all that kind of stuff. But not just that, but also what was kind of interesting is this stuff up the top here. This stuff up the top, there should be 2 tractors in it, I think. Okay, that is all the parts you need for a Wheatland's version of a 1206. I don't know. Haven't really looked at this stuff yet, but I'm thinking you kind of delete that, and then you push that down. Oh, there you go. Wheatland's. A Wheatland's version is just the same tractor, but it's cheaper because it doesn't have the 3-point link. It's kind of made for, as the name suggests, you know, like broadacre wheatland stuff out in the wheat plains and stuff like that. So they didn't tend to use like pulled implements and stuff like that. You have a less complicated tractor, but still the same one, if you know what I mean. Should make sense. Look it up, Google it. Okay, now this one here, all these parts, this is of course the 806 variant, so it's kind of the same. There's a few differences. I'm going to double check this, but one of the differences with the 806 was that it had 2 PPOs. It's missing the turbo, of course. Essentially the same tractor, and the grill's different. There's also a round guard version of the 806. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I should. You know, I probably will. You know, why not? Now I can't see in all this stuff if I've got myself a tricycle or a narrow front version. Doesn't look like it. I know I did one, but might not have made it into this particular file. So there's a set of headlights for the cab version, you see, like that. Because, you know, all that stuff is a little bit of tweaking. I would have done it for 13, but yeah. Okay, so even if I do all that kind of stuff, okay, I'll make the different versions. There's 2 that aren't in this that I could do, which is the narrow front and the 4-wheel drive version, FWD. So that would be the standard, the cab, the Wheatlands, and the 806. There is really a point to it, like, because as you all know, if you're interested and you've been looking, someone has done a 1206 already for 2019 or FS19. So let's take a look at that and see if I should be concerned with continuing with this project. Okay, here we are in FS19 now, and here is a 1206 that has been built by, according to the credit, built by Landon W or something like that. I'll double check that. It seems very similar to the one I built. But anyway, maybe they just use mine as the template for building their own model. Okay, so a few of the differences I guess you can sort of see. It's fine, okay, and it's great, you know. It's not bad. There's a few errors and stuff like that. Like, you know, in the wheels there, you can sort of see that. And in the back one, that sort of seems strange. But see, okay, so why would I go to the trouble when you can get this fine mod made by Landon W? So you see, it's got the same issue I said about the engine being a block, but here's a conversion that I did of a 2015 mod that I was going to build for the mod contest, which I, you know, like I said, a lot of things were going on at that time. So the biggest difference I think you can sort of see is this mod doesn't seem to have the AO file, which just helps with the shading. So when you look at the engine, it's like this of red, really. It doesn't have any shading in it, whereas when you look at this one, it does. Now, I'm not saying this one's fantastic. This one, I haven't done anything to upgrade this one. I've just in-gamed it out of curiosity to see how the PBR stuff would work, which is going to create some problems for my new project. Some of the PBR stuff is great, like said, like there's chrome on the top there, and the way the light works. But then you see this one's got problems, the engine not having enough detail really. You know, I might crack on with this one too at some point, but it seems to me that I need to do something about this. And I think that's where we'll leave it today. And John Deere. Okay, anyway. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates. Cheers.